talking about Amsterdam and you having chemo, I also saw that you were working for Weedworks. Do I pronounce it good? Weedworks?
It kind of broke up for a second there. What did you ask me about?
Yeah, you worked for that, or did you do an interview? Or
Yes. I was the director of commercialization and promotions. We had stores all over the world, in Australia, all over the United States, and we did mainly CBD that was infused with terpenes. And terpenes are, what's in the other plant and really what makes it work. There's, cannabis is very diversified and very, very different. And I actually did a lot of legislation type shows on there. And I did a lot of medical shows, had a lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers.
I do notice that, I talk from the perspective of someone from Amsterdam, the weed capital of the world, not anymore, but how did you change your perspective on weed? Because I've seen some of the commercials back in the days in the US, and it got very demonized, in CBD, actually everything with weed, everything with hemp. Where did it begin to start for you that you changed your opinion?
Okay, so he will tell you that I was a weed smoker. And I actually was a closet weed smoker. I mean, I would be on campaigns and stuff, but I also have severe scoliosis and I'm in excruciating pain. There's a part of my spine that's completely suppressed that talks to my gut. So I have had violent IBS with horrible nausea and what have you. His younger brother has epilepsy, and I have a seizure disorder. Like if I take pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, I'll have seizures. If I have stress, I'll have seizures and that sort of thing. And so I had all of this going on. My grandmother was an herbalist. But she was also a registered nurse, and Justin grew up on herbs. You come in with a cold at my house, I'm going to bring you a tea. And so that's the kind of mindset. And I've always been into plant medicines, And it's not just cannabis. I can sit here and talk to you about a lot of different things. And so, yeah, that's true. But it wasn't until 2014 when my whole family, due to a nuclear exposure to radiation, and everybody was getting cancer, including my dad, did I realize that I needed to really get serious about cannabis and get some good, clean help. And I flew out to California, which is also really good for cannabis as well, and talked to several doctors. There was a doctor that was in Denver, and I got a job in Denver, so I moved to Denver so I could go to not just cannabis doctors, but to other holistic doctors in that world, because that's what my body needed.
I think Denver is even more open-minded than Amsterdam.
So that's bad.
Funny enough, yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't agree?
A lot of people think from Amsterdam that everyone is like open-minded, and to be honest, the best explanation, the best comparison analogy I give is like most people who are against McDonald's are from the US because they know how bad it can be. And I've seen I've been to 35 countries, and I've seen most people in any capital who are against weed and cannabis offers Amsterdam for some reason. Maybe I just find these people because I have seen...
I have a lot of friends that have gone.
I know. It's a lot of expats and tourists who come here. That's a little bit how we see it as locals as well. Because I've seen a lot of people, a lot of my friends get messed up on weed because they were spending so much money against it. They actually did not respect it. Like you said, you use cannabis for holistic reasons. Right. And a lot of people here, they abuse the recreational side of it. And for me, I'm really objective against it. I don't really have an opinion about it. People can...
Oh, did I lose you?
Yeah, for some reason it got stopped. I hope it's recorded. I think it's recorded. It would be kind of sad if it's gone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So let me touch base and explain a little bit about cannabis. First of all, if you're a medical professional and you want accreditation, there's a very phenomenal medical conference coming up in Denver that a good girlfriend of mine has, and she has all the big doctors from Israel come in and Spain come in, and if you're a doctor or a nurse, you can get that help. On the medical side, I have seen very strong medicine that a lot of people are using. One I would say is opioid level. And that is the dabbing and the oils and stuff like that. But I have also seen those oils been applied to a child's feet to stop a grand mal seizure. One of my best friends has the biggest refugee cannabis organizations in the world, and she has video after video of her stopping her son's Dravet syndrome seizures with rubbing the oil on his feet. There is several different ways that you can access cannabis as a medical patient. I take a nano-infused syrup. I like that. The body accepts the sugar in the very, very low amount. It's in like a glycerin type thing, so the body accepts it. As a cancer patient or any kind of pain patient, you don't want a lot of sugar. That aggravates the body. You want to lower that. So I use this nano-infused syrup. It's only 10 grams of sugar per dose, but it's 40 milligrams of full spectrum, all the cannabinoids. So, and you know, that's the way you do it. And if you want information on that, I teach classes on how to be a cannabis activist, how to talk to your senators, how to get involved. I also teach a class from the patient's perspective. I can help you get a doctor's appointment wherever you are in the world with a cannabis physician.
You can put all the links that you provide
friends.
Underneath here, so people can also find you.
Yeah. Well, I probably won't in this. If you reach out to me personally, then I will, because I don't want to associate really decent people with this garbage. Not that your show's garbage, but the topic of it. And let me say this too. This is tier 1. These little shows that's doing this stuff on the down low and they're sharing it. I am deliberately not making this big. I'm letting the people he's harmed do the sharing, and it's growing exponentially. I mean, thousands and thousands of people. Now, the next level is I am going to get my activist friends involved, and that means the domestic violence people, the sex trafficking people, the human rights people. I'm going to send these videos to major outlets like a press release in Baton Rouge, in Miami, all the places he's going. I am talking to Homeland Security. So let me just say that. I am.
Yeah.
I damn sure am. They contacted me. Gee, I wonder why. And then I'm going bigger. Then I'll go to shows like The View, Trevor Noah, and that sort of thing. You know, once I've gotten the army against this formed. And if you don't think an army of pissed off women aren't going to rise up and stomp the shit out of this, you know, I will have no. And I'm actually waiting for one of his nasty little trolls, and it almost happened yesterday because I'm waiting for this. They're going to post it, and I will have no choice but to address it. No choice. So then it will go all over my social media and my followers. All my women's rights marching activists followers.
I hope at least this...
And that's when the shit's going to hit the fan. Big time.
I hope this will at least limit and make
I'm not going to be doing
people think about what they say and do. Maybe even ask for forgiveness. Let's hope anything can happen, because we don't know.
Right. Yeah. You know, this is literally the epitome of good versus evil. He's, you know, I have that charisma and stuff that he's got too. You know, but he's using it for bad.
And let's hope you get much more, because I see a bright future for you. and let's hope you get healthy as well, because you actually, it's actually kind of funny because here in the Netherlands, we don't really, at this moment, when I'm talking with you, I don't think we have legalized oils and CBD, which, funny enough, is legal in the US, but for a long time, the weed plant was not legal. Kind of vice versa.
Right. And, and here's the thing. I there was at one time a scientist that came on one of my shows that said there was over 300 different cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. And it's not just CBD and THC. One of the cannabinoids I really benefit from is CBG, because that is directing nerve pain. And I can take that without it toxifying my liver, without it adding weight, without it causing mental depression and stuff like that, because some of these, that's exactly what pharma does. So the way that cannabis works, these other cannabinoids, and then the terpenes in the plant, like the limonene and the myrcene, linalool is lavender. We know that lavender works to calm. So, there's a whole different spectrum that can be used to target, whatever you're going through. And it can be
if someone is, maybe we go a little bit off topic, but since you're an activist, if someone is still not convinced and they are still using pharmaceuticals, what would you say to that person to convince using herbals?
Mm-hmm. Start slowly. I am on chemo drugs. I'm using nano-infused cannabis full spectrum, so I have all the cannabinoids to deal with the nausea, to deal with the seizures that come from being on chemo, to deal with the other damages that it does to my body, because, the different cannabinoids are very, very beneficial for rebuilding cells, and that's why athletes like it, especially head injury athletes, football athletes are very much, I can show you all kinds of studies on the repairs to the brain, but using it medicinally is entirely different than using it recreationally. And if I wanted to be high, I've got plenty of pharmaceuticals for that. One of the things that cannabis does, just like, you may go to your doctor and he'll go, okay, we're going to start at this low dose and we're going to slowly build up and then we're going to see how that works. So you do cannabis the same way. First, you find out what you need. You talk to a cannabis nurse, a cannabis doctor, somebody that really knows their biology, their synthesis, their endocannabinoid system. That's really important. You have one. You need to know about it. Find out what cannabinoids you need, and then let them slowly guide you. Maybe you need a 1-to-1 patch. Nobody smells that. Maybe you need something like I'm taking, a slow-release nano-infused. Maybe you need to dab. Maybe you've got violent nausea or extreme pain that comes on suddenly. I look at dabbing, and people that dab, that's oxy equivalent to me.
Yes, I do. And actually,
so does that help you understand
a lot of people here in Amsterdam, they don't even get pro-weed because of the liberal stuff over here. You might not believe it, even though the country here has pretty liberal laws, the people can be quite conservative. And I personally tried my first weed after watching Joe Rogan, and someone might try weed listening to you. So, it's funny that in the US, people are getting more and more open, and we are getting behind. We are not the weed capital of the world anymore. We are not the 70s anymore. So...
No, and neither is Denver, Colorado. Neither is Denver. And I think I told you when we were talking earlier that I worked on this on a national level. I was, helped with the MORE Act. And there's a huge push in the United States to stop it. But there's also a huge push of activists that are trying to expand it.
I'm really happy to have you.
And help people understand.
And a lot of people also, you got a lot of influence. I think your